Hi, I'm Cory, your Cory mom. In today's video, I'll be sharing to you what I know about the different lookup functions in Excel. So you might have heard or even know the different functions such as lookup, Xlookup, Vlookup, and the most recent Xlookup. But what are those nga ba? And how do they work differently and similarly? So we'll find out in this video. First, let's know the purpose of the functions. So the four functions that I mentioned a while ago are all part of the lookup and reference in Excel. The lookup function helps us get information within range or arrays in relation to the value which we are looking for. For this video, I'll share to you the most basic way that I know of on how we can use these functions. So don't expect that we'll be using or doing nested functions or yung tipong function within a function in a formula. So similar in my first video, I prepared a sample dataset which we will use for simulation. This is a simple stock keeping unit or SKU dataset for food and beverage products. So the dataset contains pertinent information such as SKU code, SKU description, category, subcategory, and price per piece. So let's start with the lookup function and how I define it. We can use the lookup function via vector and array types. With the vector type, the formula returns value from a single row or column range, which is in an adjacent position with the value that we are looking for. For the array type, the formula returns the value in the last column or row of the selected array. As a rule of thumb, when using the lookup function, the lookup source or where the criteria is part of, whether it be a row or column, should be in ascending order for us to get an exact match. Otherwise, the formula might show a wrong result. Let's now simulate the lookup function. We want to know what is the product description of product code 1500. You might notice that I've already sorted the product code in ascending order. We will put our formula in cell C5. Let's type =, lookup, open parenthesis, 1500, comma, choose the first cell of the column where the product codes are located, and simultaneously key in Ctrl+Shift+Down, then press comma, then click the first cell where the product descriptions are located. Then Ctrl+Shift+Down again, and then close parenthesis, and then press Enter. You will see that the result showed Koala brand milk drink. As shared in my previous video, I usually type the conditions or the values which I'm looking for in a separate cell so that I can easily change the conditions without changing the formula, and the formula will easily show the different result. So let's change the formula first by selecting C4 as our lookup value. From here, we can now change the product code to 1500 in cell C4, and the result will show the correct product description. Let's have a scenario where we type in a product code which is not part of the ones in the list. For example, we put 1250, you'll notice that it won't result to an error, but it will show a result based on the nearest lower number, which is 1200. Let's also see another scenario where our lookup range or the product codes are not in ascending order. So I prepared the tab for it already. And let's try to look for the product description of product code 2200. So using the same formula that we used in the previous tab, let's see if it will result to the right answer. So you see that using the same formula, the result is incorrect and it should be Manang Juana Chicharon Chips. If you want to use a lookup formula for unsorted dataset, we can also use the index and match functions instead, which I will share to you in another video. The beauty with lookup function is that we can use it for both horizontal and vertical data orientations. So before we proceed, I'll change this to 1100. So let me select the set of cells and I'll rearrange the data set here. So let's right click, then paste special, and then click the transpose button or the transpose tick mark area and then click OK. And then let's copy the lookup and the formula cells similar to the vertical orientation. So let's type our lookup formula here in cell J5. So let's type in equals lookup. Click the cell J4 where we will put the lookup value later on. Then select the row where the product codes are located, comma, and then the result vector. Since we are looking for the product description, we'll choose the row where the product descriptions are, and then click enter. And to compare, let's also use the product code 1100. So you can see that the result for both vertical and horizontal oriented data are the same. We'll move on to the next function, which is the Hlookup. The Hlookup function, which is basically horizontal lookup, returns a value in the chosen row within an array, which is in an adjacent position with the value that we are looking for. Unlike the lookup function a while ago, we are limited to find a result within rows only. Let's reset our formula and look up values in cells J4 and J5. For this sample, let's try to look for the price per piece of a certain product based on its description. And let's look for the price of Millennium Tuna. So we'll type in Millennium Tuna here in cell J4. And in cell J5, let's type the formula. So equal sign Hlookup. Click cell J4, comma, choose the table array. So the table array should start with a row where the product description is located and simultaneously key in Shift Control down until the last row where the price per piece is located. Then count the sequence of the price per row from the first row in the array, which is the product description. So the price per row is row 4. So let's key in comma 4, comma, and let's choose false. Or we can type in 0 since we're looking for the exact match. Then close parenthesis and then enter. And the result showed 35, which is the price per piece of Millennium Tuna. For this sample, we can try to look for the subcategory of the product. Since our array captures the subcategory row, we can just change the row number in the formula from 4 to 3 because the subcategory is the third row. Now that we have changed the row number, the result showed us that the subcategory of Millennium Tuna is canned goods. The next function, which is the Vlookup, is similar to the Hlookup, but it works on vertical oriented dataset since we are finding the result within the columns. Let's go back to our dataset. We will apply the same rules with Hlookup but tweak them a bit so that the array will look within the columns. Let's remove first the values and formula in cells C4 and C5. For Vlookup, let's find the category of C3 apple drink. In the formula cell, we'll type equals Vlookup, open parenthesis, choose cell 4, comma, click the first cell of the product description, then simultaneously click in Ctrl-Shift down, then select until the last column so that we can easily change the column number based on our liking, comma, 2, since the category is in the second column from the first column of the array, comma, false or 0, then close parenthesis. The result showed beverages. And if we want to find the price per piece, let's just change the column number from 2 to 4, since price per piece is the fourth column. So let's try to find the price of one more product. Let's choose Millennium Tuna. And here we can see that the price changed to 35, which is the price here in the table. For the last function, I'll be discussing about Xlookup. How I define Xlookup is that it returns a value in the chosen row or column, which is in an adjacent position with the value that we are looking for. Unlike with the Lookup function, the lookup vector in Xlookup doesn't need to be in an ascending order. And more than that, we can look up from right to left or bottom to top sources, unlike Vlookup and Xlookup, where the lookup value source is from the leftmost portion of the columns or topmost portion of the rows. The last one is also applicable to the lookup function, but again, we are restricted with having the lookup vector in ascending order. Unfortunately, the Xlookup function is only available in Microsoft Excel 365. So if you have an earlier version or even in Google Sheets, you will not be able to use the Xlookup function. Let's apply the Xlookup formula now in our sample dataset. So let's look for the subcategory of Cheeky Chocolate Drink. In cell C5, let's key in the formula Xlookup, open parenthesis, choose the cell C4, comma, then select the column where the product description is located. And then, again, simultaneously click in Shift, Control down, comma, then select the subcategory column. So the last three options that you see in the formula or in the equation are only optional and are not required to be filled up. So we can close already the formula here using a parenthesis. And you can see that the result is Tetra Pak liter. Now let's try to have a typographical error with our lookup value. Let's add an S after the word drink. Because we didn't fill the three optional information, the result is an error. So this is where the beauty of Xlookup comes in. So unlike in the other lookup functions such as Vlookup and Xlookup, when you encounter errors, you have to use that if error nested function. In Xlookup, you can just easily put in the preferred result should you encounter an error in your formula. So let's go back to the formula and change and fill up the if not found portion. We can set the result to showing not applicable in case of errors. So let's type in the equation with a quotation mark, not applicable, quotation mark, and press enter. And there you have it. The result showed not applicable since we have a typographical error. Let's put the lookup value to the original value without an S. Let's also try a scenario where the lookup result column is located at the left of the lookup vector. So let's try to find the product code of Emperor white vinegar. And in the formula cell, type in Xlookup, open parenthesis, choose cell C4, select the product description cell, and then we'll key in Shift Control down simultaneously, then comma, then choose the product code cells, and close parenthesis, and enter. And here, we can see that it got the right answer of 2100. That's it. I'll be uploading more videos like this in the coming weeks. And I'd like to just thank the people who have already shared my video and channel to their friends, families, and office mates. And I also want to really thank my sister who endorsed me in her community. So some of her subscribers happen to like my video and even subscribe to my channel. If you want to learn about the different functions on getting total, you can check my previous video which contains the sum, sum if, sum ifs, subtotal, and sum product functions. So thank you for watching. I hope that you all stay safe and that you get to spend more time to learn new things and new skills. Bye!